What's going on, guys? Dominic here. In the time we've been gone from making videos, we've been busy playing a lot of video games, among other things. Not all of which is going to translate into content on this channel, but I thought I'd break our silence by talking about a game that has me really excited for what's to come. This game is The Forest. The Forest is an early access survival horror game by developer Night Games on Steam that doesn't bring much new to the table per se, but meshes a ton of awesome concepts that gamers are likely to be familiar with and thoroughly appreciate. You're an unnamed man who is involved in a plane crash that leaves him stranded on an island. Like I said, very familiar stuff. But the child you're on the plane with, presumably your son, is taken by a bald man lacking clothes among other things. This gives you some incentive to explore the island, which you were probably going to do anyway considering the nature of your adventurous soul. The island is the same every time your plane crashes, but you're thrown into a different area each time. Let it be known now, this is a beautiful game. Despite some of the graphical quirks that are bound to happen due to the stability of the build, it certainly succeeds in fully immersing the player with this mysterious world. The lighting is beautiful, sound design is impeccable, and a general atmosphere of anxious anticipation can be felt all throughout. The developers even included a few color grading options to set a specific tone as the player so desires. My favorite part of the game visually is the night sky, having been overwhelmingly assaulted by the natural beauty of the stars. The gameplay is really straightforward and very reminiscent of Minecraft. The player must collect materials and hunt animals scattered around the world to survive as long as possible. Exploring is very rewarding, and the player must really balance risk versus reward in deciding whether to set out on an excursion. The catch is the horror aspect. There are factioning cannibals roaming around the island that are extremely hostile. It's possible to avoid them for a good while, but once they spot you and return to their higher-ups, they will come for you each night. As the nights progress, the forces become stronger and more competent, breaking down defenses that previously held them off. With both a crafting book that acts as a kind of catalog and a crafting station in the player's inventory, more complex structures and equipment can be created. You can build various structures, hunting traps, fires, barricades, and effigies that ward away the cannibals. Crafting yields new weapons and upgrades, which I can tell is in a kind of primitive form at the moment, but shows a lot of potential. Cutting down trees is one of the most satisfying things to do, but after building structures for so long, the game starts to feel like Lumberjack Simulator 2015. You've got to build, survive, and discover as long as you can before the island takes you. As for being a horror game, it can be said that this game is more unnerving than scary. I never found myself truly in fear, only slightly startled upon seeing a cannibal that I had not anticipated. The cannibals on their own aren't very scary. The scariest moments that I personally dealt with was hiding in my base level shack while freezing in the cold, unable to sleep with the cannibals' headlamps frantically darting around, searching for me. Also, there are caves to be found either by exploration or dying for the first time. In the latter case, the player is transported to the bottom of a cave, having presumably been brought there to die by the cannibal civilization. It's creepiest in there, especially after getting taken rather than by finding it by chance. This is due to the fact that all of your materials have been stripped from you, save for a lighter. The lighter mechanic in the caves is really well done, since it often flutters out, rendering the screen completely black until the character frantically relights it. It is in there that the most creepy sights and creatures can be seen. There's a co-op version of the game that has been recently implemented that makes building and exploring a lot less of an undertaking, but this is where the game starts to show some of its true colors. Don't get me wrong, it's an absolute blast, but items can't be shared, body parts of dead cannibals pile up and can't be disposed, duplicating body glitches often occur, a player loses their inventory when disconnecting, and sometimes it's hard to find out just where your friend is, since their name slowly strays from their character as the hours progress. Many of these have been fixed in the latest patch though, and it's helped to remedy the experience as a whole. The Forest boasts a heavy influence from cult classic horror films, and I think that serves it well. It has a kind of classic feel to it that harkens back to movies like the Blair Witch Project, and you can tell that Night is looking towards a more visual experience that can be consumed through the Oculus Rift, for example, rather than trying to boast next-gen features that are in such high demand at the moment. It does what it sets out to do very well despite being in its early stages, and it has me coming back for every update. Thanks for watching! If you like what you saw, check out more of our stuff! Or don't. What do I care? Maybe we'll meet again someday.